This is GTV. Did you know that the Nintendo Family Computer wasn't the first home video game system to be sold in Japan? Well, it's not. Even though the history and worldview of gaming has been written around July 15th, 1983, and the success of Nintendo, who, to their credit, took over the industry and smoothed it out and kept things in order, but the way that they saw fit, there was a piece of hardware before that should get the credit as the first popular mainstream console: Cassette Vision. Yeah, back in the pre-Nintendo antediluvian gaming world, the Cassette Vision, made by Epoch, was the market leader. Epoch and Nintendo were actually in a rivalry as heated as any console war, past or present, and in the 70s and 80s were constantly one-upping each other. That's back when one-up meant something else. Epoch started operations in Japan in 1958, producing toys and mechanical games. In the 1970s, Epoch took to the emerging market of handheld LCD games, releasing the first original Japanese-made game in 1975, and from there, becoming the most popular maker. In the 1970s, Epoch also got in on the home Pong clone craze, and even imported the Atari 2600 to Japan for a little while. They also put out a dedicated Space Invaders clone as well. On July 30th, 1981, Epoch debuted the Cassette Vision to a receptive Japanese audience. The sticker price was 13,500 yen, about $50 in 1981, and not a lot of money for a country in an economic boom. The Cassette Vision really is a product of its time, an evolutionary link in the chain from a home Pong to what we know today. There are a lot of switches on the console face, and the controllers are built in. The controllers are a little odd, as they have buttons and dials and switches that work differently with each game. Each game cartridge also housed the RAM and certain processors, meaning that the Cassette Vision doesn't have much going on inside. 11 games were released between 1981 and 1983. That's it. And those 11 games, Yosaku, Baseball, Galaxian, Big Sports Juni, Battle Vader, Pac Monster, New Baseball, Monster Mansion, Astro Command, Monster Block, and Elevator Panic carried the Cassette Vision to sales of 450,000 units when it was all said and done. Nintendo dropped the family computer in July 1983, and that was pretty much it for the Cassette Vision. So Epoch released a redesigned Cassette Vision Junior for the time being, and went back to the drawing board to try and beat the eventual 8-bit champion. They came back in 1984 with Super Cassette Vision, with specs that matched the family computer and anything else that was new in 1984. It debuted on July 17, 1984, for 15,000 yen. The machine comes closer to resembling a modern home video game, but still isn't just quite there. The Super Cassette Vision saw 30 games over the course of 1984 and 85. Some of these titles, like Pole Position 2, Mappy, Miner 2049er, and Dragon Ball, will ring a bell. Some Super Cassette Vision titles even had battery backup, which again is something of a first that the other guys didn't do for at least a few years. Other one-ups on the competition included RGB outputs, and the machine also made it to Europe with about half the games in tow. In 1985, to boost sales, a bright pink version was released called the Lady Cassette Vision, just for girls, or for collectors, if that's the story you're sticking to. So how did the Super Cassette Vision fare? About 300,000 units. Less than the first Cassette Vision, but impressive for going up against Nintendo. Believe it or not, the SCV has quite a homebrew community in Japan, with playable versions of Super Mario Bros., Dragon Quest, and others available to play. Pretty impressive. Epoch one-upped Nintendo yet again, releasing the game Pokécon, short for the Game Pocket Computer, in 1984, which was pretty much a Game Boy long before the Game Boy was ever on the drawing board. Eventually, Epoch did move on to other areas, including trading card games and becoming a publisher for family computer games themselves. They also developed Barcode Battler, which again beat Nintendo's e-reader by about a decade. And in what is the most indelible mark left by Epic, game software in Japan is still, to this day, referred to as cassettes, thanks in part to the Cassette Vision. While in English, the word game pack has faded from the lexicon.